Today, Carmela, we're going to learn about a wine some call the Pinot Noir of the East.
So does that make it a good wine or a bad wine?
Well, it's a really good question. But by East, in this case, we mean Central and Eastern Europe.
Oh, so maybe neither.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's find out what this strangely named wine is all about.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome to the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of reasonably priced wine, and this is my wife and my wine pairing partner in crime, Carmela.
Hi there.
And we are the Wine Pair.
Yes, we are.
And if you're new to the podcast, we're going to do a little orientation for you. Each week, what we do is we explore a different wine varietal or blend, like Vino Verde or Tannat or Blaufränkisch. And we dive into just what these wines are, what makes them special, and why finding new wines to learn about is so dang fun.
So fun, so important. I mean, it's
the best.
It's a real thing. Like, you got to do it.
It's a thing. And our goal is to help you expand your wine knowledge in a fun way that's understandable and accessible to regular people, not just wine nerds.
All right.
Yeah, so when we also taste and review 2 to 3 wines under $25 each and share our scores and recommendations to help you find great wines without breaking the bank.
Nice.
So thanks very much for joining us, and we're proud to say that Decanter Magazine calls us fun, irreverent,
Chatty,
and entertaining. And people may be surprised that I always make you do the chatty, but if they really knew you, they'd know.
No, you are the chatty one, though.
Only in the podcast.
Well, and that's how these people know you, is
That's
through
right.
the podcast.
That is
they
true.
Think that I'm just like quiet, reserved.
Oh, God, if you only knew. All right, Carmela, I do love these WTF episodes. This is a WTF is Blaufränkisch
I know
episode.
What WTF really is this.
But the reason I like them is because in these episodes, we get to learn about wines that people don't know that much about. But if they want to learn more about wine and feel more educated, these are wines that they should really know about.
Well, and they can just like wow people too.
Wow people, exactly.
I mean, that's kind of fun when you know something, because I've never heard of this in my whole life.
Well, see, and Blaufränkisch then is a perfect example of the wine, a type of wine we do in a WTF episode.
Nice.
Now, but before we get into this week's episode specifically, I want to make just a few editorial comments. Okay. This is where I'm going to get chatty. So first, Blaufränkisch is a wine I've been wanting to have on the podcast for a really long time.
But they weren't available.
No, it's because...
No, what I'm saying is like when you were reaching out to whatever it's called, they weren't responding.
No, that's not it.
Oh,
it's because it wasn't until we recently increased our ceiling on what was allowable from a price standpoint.
Then they agreed to come.
Oh, Jesus. I can't get a word in edgewise.
Sorry.
This is what it's really like, people. This is what it's really like.
I want my turn.
I guess so. Anyway, at the beginning of this year, we changed the cap or the ceiling on which we would allow wines on our podcast. It was always $20 or under. We raised it to $25 or under, and that allowed us to do more wines. And a great example of one is Blaufränkisch. Now, $20 is still our goal in finding reasonably priced wines, but some wines are just really hard to find below that cap. And so again, raising the cap helped us to be able to try a wine like this. Again, the wine that some people call the Pinot Noir of the East. And many of you who listen to us know that Pinot Noir is maybe my favorite wine, which is also another good thing to keep in mind when we do our ratings and reviews, because that style of wine is more likely to get higher ratings from us than heavier red wines like a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Unless you don't like it.
Well, this is my point. This is not a knock on Cabernet Sauvignon or heavier reds, but rather just a reminder that you may not and you do not have to agree with the way we rate wines or the way that we prefer our tastes. But what we hope is that you can use our ratings to help you make choices. So you may find, for instance, that you just tend to like wines that we don't like as much, and that's totally fine.
Doesn't mean we don't like each other. We can still be friends.
Exactly, but it's okay. If we rate a wine low, but it's a big red wine, you might say, maybe I should try that. I might like it.
Right.
Okay. The other thing, raising the wine cap has allowed us to start to explore wines from places like Germany and Austria, which is where these wines are that we're tasting today are from, and other places in Central Europe that are imported a little less to the United States. So these are wines that may be highly regarded, but are more often found in places around Europe than in the US. And that's a big incentive for us too, because what we really, really want to help you do is expand the kinds of wine you drink. And we find that red Austrian wines, as well as German wines and Hungarian wines and even Czech wines, are just often neglected. You just don't hear about these wines very often, which I think is kind of
a shame.
It's a shame. I actually do. I think it's
a
kind
crime.
Now we're really getting to the heart of it. Now we're getting to the point where I'm fired up.
Wow.
Okay.
Watch out, people.
So the third thing is that we are also finding a lot of smaller local wineries around the world and the United States that have climates more similar to places like Germany and Austria and the Czech Republic than they do to like California, are starting to really explore German, Austrian wines, which is really cool. But again, I think the overproduction of Cabernet Sauvignon by the big wine producers has made everyone think that they need to drink Cabernet Sauvignon, and made wineries all over, big and small wineries, feel like they have to make Cabernet Sauvignon, even though that's a wine that really does much better in warmer climates like California. And that's why we think there are so many bad Cabernet Sauvignons out there, because they're trying to grow them in places that really shouldn't be growing them. So regions, I'm almost done with my diatribe.
I'm like mesmerized by those hand motions.
I know. But regions like Washington State, where we are, and New York, and Colorado, and Pennsylvania, and Michigan, and British Columbia, and Niagara, they're starting to make wines like Blaufränkisch because they're better suited to the regions, and they can make excellent wines from them, much better wines.
Do you think we should do a YouTube channel?
I think sometimes I do, but they will make much better wines from grapes like Blaufränkisch than they will Cabernet Sauvignon. So I hope I'm making myself clear. I'm going to clarify.
He's just like staring me down.
I'm telling you, Carmela.
If my mind or eyes start to wander, he's bringing me back.
Hey, listen up. Okay.
A pupil.
I'm going to be, listen, children. No, I'm going to be really plain. I'm going to try to be really plain. There are so many good red wines out there beyond Cabernet Sauvignon. And I feel like we've been fooled. We've been snookered by the wine industry. Yes, scammed by the wine industry to think that a red wine is supposed to be synonymous with Cabernet Sauvignon. And the reason for that is economics. It's because that's what grows well in California. They make a ton of wine there. And I actually don't like this. I think this is a problem. And what, again, I hope we do in our podcast is just expose some more people to different kinds of wines that they may like, so that we can be smarter and more discerning customers and consumers, and support winemakers and wine regions that make fantastic wines that are not Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay.
Thank you.
Have I made myself clear? Thank you.
Right on that soapbox.
I know. I feel like I need to splash water in my face.
I know. Well,
I don't know. When I was writing it, I was like,
I can throw water on your face. No problem.
You do that. Sometimes she does it. Okay. The other night, I will say honestly, what she did is she tells me this sometimes because I'm a snorer. I don't know who out there is a snorer. Okay. You know, there's somebody.
Raise your hand. Okay.
You know,
we see you. We see you.
You know, there's somebody in the relationship who falls asleep fast and somebody who falls asleep slow. I'm the fast follow sleeper.
I think it's always.
It might be the case, but then there are people who snore and people who don't snore. I am the snorer. But what Carmela does, she's very nice, but she woke me up doing it. She never usually wakes me up. She kind of fluffs the sheets when I
people
snore.
Are like, God, I gave them, like they'll talk about their spouse or whatever. And I just punched him, or I just, I give him.
She's too nice to do that.
I'm not going to do that. So I just kind of give a fluff, but sometimes that fluff's getting a little aggressive.
It's getting a little bit more aggressive. Well, just like I was getting aggressive. Right. You should have seen me writing the show notes for this.
I thought you were going to talk about your snoring getting aggressive, because that is getting aggressive to the point where like I actually was like woken up by the snoring the other night. Like, I mean, I was like shook awake. Okay.
Can we get back to the wine, to Blaufränkisch?
Yes.
Okay. So we have 2 Blaufränkisch wines that I don't want to talk about my snoring.
I mean, you brought it up.
I did. We have 2 Blaufränkisch. It's my fault. Mm-hmm. We have 2 Blaufränkisch wines that we're going to try today. One from Germany, one from Austria. And we're going to tell you if we think either or both of them are worth adding to your shopping list. And we'd also love to hear from you if you have a favorite, particularly a local Blaufränkisch wine or wine producer that you love, because we would love to share it out. So I think we need to learn more about Blaufränkisch, Carmela, and review review these wines. But first...
Wait, we haven't learned that? Okay.
No, because first...
we need to do our shameless plug.
That's right. So thank you for listening to us and for supporting our show. And if you haven't had the chance to do so yet, now would be the perfect time to follow or subscribe to our podcast. And another great way to support us is to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you do that kind of thing. And then you can also follow us and see pictures of the wines that we're tasting and trying today and weird AI pictures and even AI animations that I'm starting to make on Instagram.
So cool.
I know, it's amazing. At the Wine Pair Podcast on Instagram. We're also on Blue Sky. And so if you're curious, we post differently and more frequently on Blue Sky. So join us there. It's a little bit different vibe. It's kind of fun. And you can contact us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. You can sign up for our new email newsletter, which comes out on the first day of the month, which as we record this, that is tomorrow.
Oh, right.
But by the time you listen to this, it might be yesterday or even more later, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
It is kind of weird. Time warp. We're in a time warp.
Okay.
And on our website, you can now find links in a section called Shop Wine, where you can buy the wines that we rate highly on our podcast. It's just a little link that leads you to a place where you can buy the wines. And sometimes we get a little for sending you there, but you don't pay any more. We just get a little out of it, which is fun. Helps us.
So what happens if we buy the wine?
We just pay for it. We get we pay for it, and we pay ourselves, and we get a kickback. I don't know, but it's a way to keep our podcast free, and that's what we really want to do. And we like to make content that you care about. So also just send us a note and tell us things you like, you don't like, if there's wines you want us to try, or winemaking areas of the world you're curious about, and we'll take care of it. And you can just email us at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. And a shout out to Stale, I hope I'm saying his name right, from Norway, who reached out to us to let us know we have fans in Norway. Wow. And we do. I can see it. And when I look at the downloads, I can tell there's people in Norway who listen to it. There's people in like more than 50 countries that listen to us.
That's
it's kind
really
of cool.
Yeah.
And we are sending him some stickers. We sent them out, and I'm very curious.
Oh, right. I think I was the one that
you
sent
did,
them out.
because I was like, I don't know how much we have to pay for postage. So I'm really curious about when they're going to get there.
Oh, let us know.
Yeah. So Stale,
I
I
hope they're like still flat.
I hope they are too. And please, if we said your name wrong, please let me know that as well.
Yes.
And as we do every week, we'll tell you someone we think you should recommend the Wine Pair podcast to, because that's the best way for us to grow listeners. When you tell your family and friends that you have these awesome friends, these people that you love, called the Wine Pair podcast.
Friends.
Yes, that send you free stickers.
Right.
And this week we want you to recommend us to anyone who loves wines like Pinot Noir or Cabernet Franc or Sangiovese, or who's just tired of Cabernet Sauvignon and they want to try something new because they may dig this wine.
Awesome.
Okay. That was a lot, Carmela. That was a lot.
I mean, I'm exhausted just watching you here.
I am too. But now we are ready to learn just what the Blaufränkisch is.
We haven't.
And why we should care.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay. Blaufränkisch is a wine that's also known as Lemberger. I'm not making that up.
Lemberger?
Lemberger.
Okay.
And it's often called Lemberger in Germany, although some winemakers are avoiding the name altogether because it sounds too much like the stinky cheese Limburger.
Oh.
Sometimes they just call it Blue Frank, and I am not kidding.
Really?
They call it Blue Frank.
Okay, why Blue Frank?
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
So Blaufränkisch also goes by other names depending on where it's from. So sometimes it's called Modra Frankinja in Slovenia.
You always have a little bit of an Italian
I know.
going on.
And it's supposed to have been originated in Slovenia.
Huh.
It's called Kek Frankos in Hungary. It's called Frankovka in the Czech Republic and Franconia Nera in Italy. And there's other names that it goes by. And we have links to articles and videos where you can learn more in our show notes. Did you know we have show notes?
I did.
Go to this episode on our website and you can find links and all sorts of other information.
Okay.
But generally, the point is this. Generally, the name Frank shows up no matter where the name is from, except when it's called Lemberger. There's no Frank in Lemberger. I don't know if you noticed that. But as you were asking, Carmela.
Why is it blue?
No.
What?
Frank. It was Frank.
No, I said Blue Frank or something. Wait.
I do need to give you the script every once in a while. Okay. Now, the meaning of the name is interesting because it means blue Frankish, which may not mean a lot to us now. But she's so stunned, she couldn't even say anything.
Didn't mean a lot to me then.
No, but evidently in the Middle Ages, Carmela, The term Frankish was used to mean high-quality varieties of wines. And this grape has been around since the Middle Ages.
So if you're kind of Frankish, if your name's Frank and we say, well, he's kind of Frankish.
That's right.
Okay.
And the Franks were a group that had a kingdom in what is now France. So that's where the name Frank comes from. Do you get it?
Okay. What about the blue part?
That one I don't know.
You don't know, really?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I've spent enough time on the name.
Okay.
This grape is grown and the wine is generally made in Central Europe, especially Austria and Hungary, but it's also made in countries like the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Slovenia, Croatia, and Germany. And in Austria, it is mainly grown, and the wine is mostly made in a region called Burgenland, which is on the very eastern part of the country and borders Hungary and a bit of Slovenia and Slovakia. So that's why you're going to find it in those other regions as well. It's the second most popular red grape variety in Austria after Zweigelt. Remember, we did Zweigelt. So this is number 2. Zweigelt's number 1. This is number 2 when it comes to red grape. It makes up about 6% of the grapes that are grown in the country, but 60% of the grapes grown in Burgenland. That's right.
Wow.
And sometimes Burgenland is called Blaufränkisch land.
But why Blau?
Oh, God. Okay. Now, in Hungary, they don't even have the Blau in it. It's known as Kek Frankos, and it is the most planted red grape variety in Hungary. And a lot of those grapes are grown in the area called Sopron, which borders Burgenland. So they're nestled right up against each other, like you and me when we're in our bed and you fluff those covers because I'm snoring. Just snuggled right up to each other.
These sound like amusement park places.
They kind of do. And in the Czech Republic, it is the second most widely grown grape variety. So in these areas, it's very commonly grown red wine, even though we don't really hear about it, right? Now, Blaufränkisch is known for being very versatile, and it's often compared to lighter red wines like Pinot Noir and Cabernet Franc, but it can also be compared to Nebbiolo, which again is the grape in Barolo and Barbaresco, and sometimes Syrah. So it really depends on where it's grown and how it's produced.
I was trying to find out what Blau means. Maybe it means blue.
Okay, look it up. She's part of the Look It Up club now.
I don't know. Now, I don't know how to spell it.
Okay, so the reason for Blaufränkisch being called versatile is because it's said to be very impacted by the soil it's grown in, and that can change the flavor quite a bit. And another thing that will make a difference is whether it's oaked or not, how long it's oaked. And this is also a wine that can age. And so how long it's aged can also change the taste of the wine. Now, it's generally described as high in acidity, which we like because it means it's good with food, and medium to full-bodied with moderate to high tannins and flavors like black cherry, plum, red fruits, spice, earth. And that makes sense as why it might be compared to like Syrah or Nebbiolo.
Blau means blue.
I know.
I figured.
Okay, there you go. I like that you were looking something up. I thought that maybe she was texting one of our children.
To the dark blue color. Okay.
There you go. The dark blue color of the grapes.
I wonder what the color is going to be of the wine.
I don't know. We're going to see if it looks like a Pinot.
Okay.
Now, this is a wine that likes cooler climates. It likes warm summer days and cool nights. It's said to be an early budding and late ripening grape, so it needs a really long growing season to mature, and it can be very vigorous, which means it can make a lot of berries. And that can actually be problematic because sometimes when you have a plant, like a grape vine that makes too many berries, they get not as concentrated. So in order to keep a wine from being thin, they will kind of have to tamp down, like they'll remove some of the clusters or some of the berries to keep it from being so vigorous.
Right. Wow.
So one more note on the impact of terroir on the wine. And remember, terroir is just a fancy way of saying the place, because the place matters when it comes to wine, as it does with a lot of things. Like your dad used to say, location. Okay. The region where Blaufränkisch is grown can have a major impact on the style of wine. For example, wines from a specific area called Lemberger region of Burgenland are known for their elegance and finesse due to the limestone soils. Wines from Mittelburgenland in Burgenland are often full-bodied and spicy due to the richer, deeper soils. And then lighter, sandier soils produce a wine with red fruit and spice flavors. So in general, the wines from Burgenland in Austria are full-bodied and complex. Those from Hungary tend to be a little bit more fruit-forward, and the wines from Slovenia and Croatia are often lighter-bodied and considered elegant. So that's important to know if you want to know what kind of Blaufränkisch you may prefer. right?
Nice.
If you want a bigger bodied wine, look for the ones from Austria. If you like a more austere wine, you're going to look for one maybe from Slovenia and Croatia.
Interesting.
So on that note, I think it's time to find out about the wines that we chose for this episode. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Wow. I'm ready. So as usual, the wines we have chosen for this episode are under $25, and they should be relatively easy to find because I bought them both at wine.com. You're not going to find them at your local convenience store or 7-Eleven, but you should be able to find it any place that has a decent selection of Austrian or German or Hungarian wines or local wines. Again, we are finding that a lot of places that make wines locally, like Michigan, etc., are starting to make Blaufränkisch wines. And so as we always say, go to your local wine shop, talk to the person who runs the shop, and see if they have or can get you a Blaufränkisch.
Good idea.
Yeah. The first wine we're going to try is the 2018 Weingut Burg Ravensburg Sulzfeld Blaufränkisch.
Wow, that's a name.
That's a really long name. I need a break. Okay, this one comes from Germany, from Baden, Germany. And it was super hard to find out much about this wine, but here is something. According to the winery, the grapes are carefully harvested by hand. They're carefully sorted. That's a lot of care. They're taking a lot of care. They're carefully sorted and fermented as whole berries in small containers. And the aim is to produce a powerful, spicy Blaufränkisch, which they put Lemberger in parentheses, which again in Germany, sometimes they call it Lemberger. It's not the cheese, it's the wine.
Don't get confused.
Don't get confused. This is not cheese wine.
No.
Although it might be a wine you have with cheese.
Sure.
And it has a fine tannin structure. And then the biological acid reduction, that's just I heard. That's what they said. I don't know. Takes place in used barriques, which are small barrels, in which the wines mature for 8 to 12 months.
Oh, okay.
Now, the website gives a bit of information, including that this wine belongs in the German quality classification of Ortswein.
Okay.
Which doesn't sound very good.
No.
I'm going to say.
But it's not the highest.
It's not the highest. It's Ortswein. Which means it's grown in a specific village or municipality and is of high quality, but it's not the highest quality.
Okay.
And so, the German wine system is called VDP for short. And all I'm going to say is I'm not even going to try to pronounce the words that make up VDP. I can't do it.
It's okay.
So don't ask.
Wait, what does it stand for?
Nope. And another thing the winery calls out is that they use natural wine growing processes. I don't know what those processes might be, but they say that.
Sounds good.
It does.
Could be a selling point.
Could be. They harvest by hand. They process gently, so carefully and gently. And
These
they
are
use
like babies.
I know.
Grapes.
And they use spontaneous fermentation, which means they just use the yeast that's just, they don't inoculate, they just let it go.
Okay. Naturally.
Okay. It's natural.
It's all natural.
Yes. The second wine we're going to try is the 2020. Now, I don't even know how to say this. Prieler, it's Prieler, Prieler Johanneshöhe Blaufränkisch. Okay.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys can tell. I don't speak German.
No.
I'm not good at it.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Effort. Participation points.
Thank you. I'll remember that when you're fluffing the sheets.
Oh, that won't change anything.
No, it won't. This wine is certified organic. So that's, if you're into that, that's important for you. This is a good wine. And the wine is fermented in stainless steel before being racked into used barrels.
What?
And I didn't know what Stockinger, I think it's Stockinger barrels were. So I had to look it up. Just like you had to look at the Blau.
Yeah, club. Okay, what'd you find out?
Oh, God. Are you ready?
I don't know.
Okay, Stockinger, I'm just going to say it's Stockinger. I don't know if that's the way you say it or not, but I'm going to say it that way. Stockinger barrels are oak barrels made by the Austrian cooperage Stockinger. Now, coopers are barrel makers. That is the name for that.
Okay.
They're known for their ability to preserve a wine's fruit flavors without overpowering them with oak. They're often used in fermentation. They're made from Austrian and German oak, which has a tight grain and high levels of aromatic compounds. This is what I read. Stockinger barrels are seasoned in the open air for up to 5 years to reduce astringency and greenness. Their barrels are renowned for their ability to preserve fruit flavors. Jancis Robinson, who's a famous wine critic and reviewer, called Stockinger barrels the winemaker's Stradivarius.
My goodness.
Do you know what a Stradivarius is?
No.
Stradivarius
This is a lot.
Is the most famous violins. Like Stradivarius are the best of the best of the best of the best violins.
This is amazing.
And the reason you may not have heard about Stockinger barrels is because they are not widely available because of the artisanal nature of the cooperage.
I mean, this wine should blow us away. I'm thinking.
It should. I feel like there's a lot of background information in this episode.
They're building this one up.
Yeah, so you got, and also
and you're building this one up.
Yeah, so,
Holy
cow. People, you have to let us know if you like all the background information because I have a little bit more.
Okay.
This time about the estate. The Prieler estate in Schützen on the western side of Lake Neusiedl is a...
You just want to talk tonight and say these words.
Well, listen, it's an historic old farm. It was once dedicated to many types of agriculture and now specializes in grape growing. It has a long history of cultivation in this part of Burgenland. The area around Vienna was cultivated by Cistercian and Franciscan monks who founded monasteries along the Danube and brought these varieties from France and Germany. And the reason I bring that up is because I have a soft spot in my heart for Cistercians. Those are Trappist monks. A very important person in my life, Father Tim Clark, was a Cistercian monk.
Nice little shout out.
That's right. And they have a Trappist abbey in Oregon, very close to Portland, but it happens to be in the middle. I mean, in the middle of the Willamette Valley, like really close to Domaine Serene and other very famous wineries. And the monks, in order to make money, they do a few things. They have a bookbindery, they make fruit cakes, but they also store and label wines for wineries.
Wow. Do they get to taste the wine, do you think?
These guys, they're not afraid to imbibe a little wine. They may be monks, but they don't mind having a drink every once in a while.
They may take a vow of silence.
Yeah.
But...
Well, the Trappists are famous for alcohol, like Trappist ale. Hello. It's made by Trappist monks. So these guys, and the fruitcake.
Don't sleep on the Trappist monks.
Yeah, exactly. And the fruitcake, you may be like, they make fruitcake, but the fruitcake is soaked in rum.
Oh my gosh. And true. And it's your favorite.
I love it. Anyway, okay, it's time for us to get to drinking. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. If you have these wines or a similar wine, if you have a Blaufränkisch, drink along with us. Remember, you get extra participation points for doing that. And you turn in those participation points by sending us an email with your mailing address, and we will send you free I Drink with the Wine Pair podcast stickers.
Nice.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our first wine. This is the 2018 Weingut Burg Ravensburg Sulzfeld Blaufränkisch. It's from Baden, Germany. Again, a 2018. It was $21.99 at wine.com. 13% alcohol, 100% Blaufränkisch. And Vivino ratings average 3.7. But before we smell it, what are you seeing in terms of color?
It's dark. It's darker than a Pinot.
It's definitely darker than a Pinot. It's still got some translucence. I wouldn't say it's totally opaque.
Right. It's not like inky. It's not like so black. There's a little bit, there's a little bit of glimmers of red. It's pretty.
It's pretty.
Very pretty.
I think it's a pretty dark red. Well, let's smell it and see what scents we get.
What are you getting?
It's nice. Little cherry, little dark cherry. Dark
cherry. And I want to say some smoke.
When I swirl it, I get a little bit of that like earth.
Maybe a little bit of cranberry.
Yeah, I mean, it's cranberry, yes, but I'm also getting like darker red fruits, like maybe a blackberry or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But cherry, like a dark cherry. It's nice. It smells good. I think it might be a little alcohol-y. Like maybe it's got a little alcohol on it, but it's only 13% alcohol.
There's a little licorice on it too.
Licorice is good.
Or anise.
Red. I was thinking like red licorice, but you think black licorice too.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Are you thinking red?
A little bit.
Red? Okay.
And I'm getting a little bit of that like gun smoke. A little bit of that fireworks kind of smell.
That's kind of what I'm thinking with the smoke or the matchstick. It's a little bit of I would say gunpowder kind of. Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? Sorry. I just got a whiff of spice.
Okay.
Like just off. It's pretty complex. Like I like it. It's
like what? Like
cinnamon.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's try it now. It's kind of a lot of those. Say again?
No, go ahead. No, I'm getting cherry on it.
Cherry for sure. Spicy. Licorice, red licorice.
Yes, more
but
red
like a Twizzler. Like a Twizzler.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So from that aspect, it's reminding me of a Pinot, but it's spicier. It kind of does have a little bit of that Syrah, cinnamony, peppery kind of spiciness to it. A lot of the smells are coming out in the flavor. It's kind of an interesting, complex wine, don't you think?
Yes, it's good.
But your mouth says good, but your face says is
really?
scrunched up.
Really?
Yeah.
No. I mean, there's some tannins on it too, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not like it's, I like it though. It's definitely at the end, there's a lot of tannins kind of drying off your tongue.
I like this wine. It is, I'm getting on the taste, I'm getting like cranberry.
Okay.
I'm getting like a tart, dried fruit, but it's still pretty like, I don't know how to say, it's like, jammy, like it's got some fruit, it's fruity. It's fruity.
Is this a wine? Did they suggest, cellaring it for a while?
Yeah, I mean, it's a wine that can age. It's definitely a wine. It's definitely a wine that can age for sure.
Do you think it needs I think it's good actually, but I think it could even stand a little bit of time in a cellar.
Or maybe it just needs more time out of the bottle, like decant it, let it sit out. It is a screw cap. Both of these wines are screw caps, which is really nice. Mm-hmm. Now, the only knock on screw caps ever is that they don't tend to age quite as well when they're screw caps. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. I think you could keep it in the cellar. It's already a 2018, so it's not like it's a young wine.
True.
It's already 7 years old. So
it's a cool bottle, a cool label.
But this is another thing too. Actually, you bring out something really interesting, which is, wine changes as it ages. And I bet this would kind of mellow out and smooth out as it ages.
I think it would. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. We may have to bring it out.
What food would you have with this?
I would do I think this would be really good with like a burger.
Mm-hmm.
I think red meat. This is a good red meat wine.
Yeah.
But I do think you could even do like a pork tenderloin. I mean,
I think you could do chicken. I think you could do spicy foods and rich foods. I think you do rich foods with this.
Yes, I think it would work well. And it does. I mean, it's definitely a good balanced taste. I think it would work very nicely with food.
I think it's super versatile. It is, while you said it's tannic, and it's also acidy. Like it's got good acid on it.
Yeah. What else would you eat with it?
No, I think you covered it. I think it's pretty versatile.
Yes.
I think you'd have a lot of things with it. Actually, the one thing that just came to mind, I'll just say, is Thanksgiving. It feels like it could be a great Thanksgiving wine. It is a bit of a fall wine.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we're going to rate this wine. And as a reminder on our rating scale, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10. We don't give half points. 7 and above means we'd buy it. 4 and below means we're likely to pour it down the sink. And a 5 or 6 means we're going to drink it and finish it, but we're not going to buy it. We like it, but we're not going to buy it. So what rating would you give this wine?
Well, I'm definitely giving it a 7.
Yeah.
Definitely. How about you?
8. Definitely an 8.
Oh.
I'm not sure if maybe I would give it a higher rating.
Yeah, I have to think on it myself.
But 8 is a very strong rating.
Yeah.
So this is a very good wine. I would definitely buy it. I would definitely serve it. I could see serving this to your dad and him going, this is very good.
I think it is it's a great like dinner party wine. I think everybody would be happy with it.
I agree. I think this is a wine that if you want, you said this earlier, you want to wow your friends. This is a wow your friends wine.
Well, for sure. Because it's unusual. You're kind of opening the door for somebody to try something new. And I think that everybody would be excited to try it.
Yeah. And I think especially folks who I think Pinot Noir and Cabernet Franc lovers would like it. But I do think Syrah lovers would like it because it's spicy.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to take a break and we're going to try our last wine.
Okay.
Okay, we are back, and we are ready to try our second wine. This one, again, I'm going to screw up the name. Prieler, Prieler, Prieler Johanneshöhe Blaufränkisch. It's from Burgenland, Austria. It's 2020, and it was $22.99 at wine.com, 13.5% alcohol, 100% Blaufränkisch, and wine enthusiasts give it an 89. The Vino rating was 3.8. But first, before we smell it and drink it, what do you think about the color?
Well, I feel like it's pretty similar.
Very similar.
Yeah, I'm not noticing anything different. It might be a little cloudier or something.
Yeah, what I was going to say is it's not quite as translucent. I feel like it's a little more, I don't know how to say
darker?
it. Yeah,
Or
it's
just
darker.
inkier?
The hue is just, I think it's dimmer in hue is what I would say than the last one.
Yeah.
Doesn't have like the brightness.
It's a little foggier or that's what I mean. A little bit, just like cloudy or something.
Yeah, I think that's a good description. What are you smelling?
Wow, I feel like this is a little more tart. I'm not getting kind of that dark cherry. I think it's a little more of a tart cherry.
Yes,
You
much
know?
more. I'm getting almost a candied cherry kind of smell.
Yeah. But like a little bit of tartness on it.
I feel like you really got to swirl it to get smell out of it.
Yeah, there's not a ton. I mean, it's not like a big fruity whiff either.
No.
So
I'm getting some like vegetable kind of notes, like green pepper kind of notes on it.
Okay. Ooh, that's interesting for sure.
Little grass or something.
Yeah,
Little
it is a little bit earthier. But like you're right, it's almost like leafy.
Leafy is
or
good.
something.
Like foresty. Almost
yeah.
herbal too, like maybe a little rosemary or something on it. Don't you think? Maybe more oregano. Some sort of herb. It's like kind of herby.
Yeah.
Not herby, but herby. But like if I don't swirl it, I am getting a little spice, like spiciness and cherry, like dark cherry again.
Is this a higher alcohol?
Just a little bit. It's only 0.5% more, but do you think you can smell it?
I feel like it's a little bit hotter.
Yeah.
Smelling, if that's a thing.
Yeah, I think so. Well, let's try it and see what we think.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's different, much tartar.
Yes.
It's a tart cherry.
I have to say, when I was tasting it, there was this might be.
Oh God, I'm afraid.
No, this might be.
I'm afraid.
Location. This might have a hint of incense.
Okay.
But it could be.
That's because I burn incense all day, people.
Just
I'm not. I think you're right.
From Japan, you've been doing. So
No, I think you're right.
Like, am I getting a little incense?
Sandalwood, isn't it? Sandalwood is that kind of classic kind of incense.
Oh my goodness! Now it's becoming part of the wine.
But I'm definitely getting like tart cherry, cranberry, tart fruit,
or even
tart
like
raspberry,
even like a craisin, but maybe with not quite as sweet.
Right.
But it's definitely kind of got that craisiny, which is cranberry, the cranberry raisins, but
I'm thinking tart raspberry. I feel like I'm getting raspberry on it, like a fresh tart raspberry.
Okay, I'm laughing. I feel like the incense is probably just from you burning it.
It might be. You might be just smelling it. Although last night she thought she was smelling gas. Our gas insert that we talked about that we just got, Carmela's super happy with it. All of a sudden it won't turn on.
Yeah.
And now we're smelling gas.
Maybe that's why I'm a little kind of off today.
We thought we might have died. We thought we might be dead.
Yeah.
If we're dead, will you let us know?
Yeah.
Because
if you don't get this,
please,
it doesn't
people,
download to you.
We know you appreciate us and you listen to us on a weekly basis. Will you tell us if we're dead?
Yeah, because we
don't ask a lot.
Like, wow, we survived, but we were like, well, maybe though we are dead.
Yeah, I mean, look, all we ask for is like send us your address.
Honesty.
We just say send us your address. We'll send you free stickers, a 5-star review. That doesn't seem like a big deal. And tell us if we're dead.
You're right.
That's
because
it.
we could be asphyxiated and then
Affixated.
What is it called?
Asphyxiated.
Asphyxiated.
Blaufränkisch. Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
What would you eat with this Prieler
now that we're dead.
What would you eat when you're dead with this Blaufränkisch? I don't think it's quite as versatile.
I don't either. I'm trying to think. I'm actually trying to.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, what?
A plate of nachos.
Oh my god.
A plate of nachos.
Something salty would be good with this.
And cheesy.
Yeah. This is.
Why am I whining?
I don't know. You don't need to whine.
I think a plate of nachos would be real good.
I can make
spicy,
you nachos.
Little spicy, a little meat on there, a little bean,
because
a little,
this is a little bit
jalapeno.
I know they don't say this, but I feel like this is a little thin.
It is thinner. It's more austere. This is the Austrian one too, which is kind of interesting, and it's from Burgenland, which is supposed to be a little bit juicier. But I think the German one was juicier.
I do too. So actually a big plate of salty, cheesy nachos, like macho nachos.
You know what? Good Super Bowl wine.
Yeah.
Because
you know why?
Actually, I'd bring the other one to the Super Bowl party because I think people would really like it.
Right.
But if you're eating like potato chips and dip, fine.
This is like later in the game when you've had a couple of good glasses.
You know when they said to Jesus, hey, usually they save the best wine for the beginning and the worst wine at the end, but the wine that you changed, now it's the best wine. That's kind of what this is. This is the worst
get that
wine.
Whole thing right there.
I totally got it backwards.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think it's.
This is the wine before Jesus changed the water into wine.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay, yeah, I like it, and I do think that. Yeah, I'm just thinking it's just not as rich.
What rating are you going to give this wine? I'm kind of struggling with this one.
I am too. I'm going to give it a 6, and I'm going to actually bump the other one up to an 8.
Yeah. I mean, of the two, this one is far superior. I'm kind of giving
the two,
it...
this one is...
I mean, so of the two, the first one, Of the two, the first one is far superior.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm kind of a 6 as well.
Yeah.
I want to give it a 7. I'm like, really want to give it a 7, but I just don't think it's bad. I would drink it. That's what a 6 means. A 6 means if you serve me this wine, I'm fine. Like, I will drink it. I'll drink several glasses of it. I won't.
Several.
Yeah, I won't complain.
No.
It's not like, ooh, I wouldn't drink this wine. I just don't think I'd go out and buy it.
I don't, especially when the other one is just so like that much better.
Yeah, the other one is a wow your friends wine.
Wait, what was the price point again on it?
They're very close. The first one was $21.99. This one's $22.99. So there's not a big price difference or anything. No. So if I'm going to spend, and interestingly enough, again, I thought that maybe the German one wouldn't be quite as good, but I think it's better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think which wine we're finishing tonight is easy.
I think so.
We're going to do the one with the long name. Weingut, Burg, Ravensburg, Sulzfeld Blaufränkisch.
I'm going to ask you that at like your second or third glass. See how we're doing.
Okay. Should we do the taste profiles expected from Blaufränkisch?
We should.
Okay. Wine Folly says general flavors are blackberry bramble. That's good. Black cherry, dark chocolate, allspice. That's a good one.
Yes. Yeah.
Pepper.
You were getting a lot of that spice though.
Yep, I was. Mm-hmm. And then wild berries or cherries, red currant, and plum. Okay, so I think we were getting a lot of that.
Okay.
The Weingut, the winery says deep blue red, which I agree. Dense, ripe aromas of black cherry, plum, and wild berries. Powerful on the palate with a fine fruit, rich tannin, and long finish. I agree with that. Mm-hmm. The Prieler wine enthusiast says this starts out with notes of black olive and sun-dried tomato. Interesting. Surrounding a core of wild cherry and finishes with assertive tannins, but the fruit brings balance. I'm not sure I agree with that.
The sun-dried tomato, I like that.
I think that's interesting. Mm-hmm. The Town Cellar, listen to this one. Ripe blackberries, raspberry. Definitely getting raspberry. I said raspberry over and over again. Didn't I? Yeah. Dark hummus. And stones. Okay. I don't think I was getting as much of that.
Dark hummus.
Yeah.
Like tahini? Kind of a little bit of...
I don't know. And stones. I wasn't getting a ton of stone either.
I wasn't either. I mean, it was definitely like a thinner, like sometimes you have that, stone or rock flavor, I think, when it's like not...
Or chalky almost.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Okay. Verdict on Blaufränkisch.
I'm so glad we did it.
I am too.
I think it's a great wine to try. And the first bottle, look, we both gave it an 8.
Yeah. What I would say is look for it. And I think a variety of different, like it's called the Pinot Noir of the East, which I think is interesting. But I think it has more like different types of flavors in it than a Pinot Noir.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So I think people who like a variety of wines will like this wine. I think it's especially that first one. I think it'll do quite well.
Right. It's a good balance too.
For sure.
For people who like a big fruity wine, like if you're trying to like compromise with somebody too.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's a good one.
And if you're having a dinner party and you're like, "Hey, friends, I want to show you something different." I know that could be taken a lot of ways. I don't mean like pull down your pants.
Wait,
I mean just show them.
Why did you just say that?
Because you were looking at me. You gave me a look.
Well, that was a weird thing, but I wasn't going to say what I was thinking out loud.
Look, I was very serious throughout this whole podcast, and now I finally get to do things like pull down my pants.
What?
And all you do.
What is happening?
I'm pulling down my pants. I'm pulling down my pants.
What? Wait, I'm
not
so
going to pull down my pants right now.
I'm really confused.
I don't know. I just felt like I need to go crazy.
Talk about going off the rails.
Blaufränkisch. Okay. Carmela, it's time for us to go. It really is time for us to go.
Yes.
But before we do, we want to thank you very much for listening to us. And if you haven't done so yet, now would be an awesome time to follow us or subscribe. And please leave us a nice rating and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to it. You can do it on our website, whatever. We love it. Okay. We really appreciate it. It helps us grow listeners. And we'd love to hear from you. We really do love to hear from you. Like Ståle from Norway. Like, that was the best thing to hear from that man.
Cool.
I love that. And so if there's a wine you want us to taste or review or a wine region you want us to explore, leave us a message. You can do that on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. And remember, you can join our email newsletter there. And if you miss the newsletter, just email me and I'll send it to you. You can also reach out to us at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. And with that, we're going to sign off, and we're going to say thank you very much again, and we'll see you next time. And as we like to say, life is short, so stop drinking shitty wine.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm taking off my pants.
Put your pants on, buddy.
And the happy ending